Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Thirsty Thursday. I hope you guys are all having a good day. Tonight should be fun. We have a young man going from college to becoming a network engineer into the Cisco world. So if you guys are ready, and you guys know the deal, please like, subscribe, and share this if you guys want to check this out on other platforms. And let him in. His name is Holden, and we'll get started.
Hey,
Hey, what's up?
nothing much. First of all, I want to thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here and being able to have this conversation with you live in front of this audience. So, yeah.
No, anytime, man. And I'm super stoked to have you and talk about your experiences. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can relate, right? Being a young kid that just graduated high school a couple of years ago, getting into college, doing some certifications at such a young age. So, before we get into your story, who is Holden and what is Holden all about? Tell us a little
Uh,
intro.
so I'm just a kid who likes to mess around with tech stuff. Um, you know, that can include anything from opening up computers, configuring Cisco equipment. You can see my server rack in the background. A little bit of cybersecurity here and there. I do lots of things. In high school, I did a cybersecurity club that I did for the school. Um, I'm CCNA certified. I got my A plus, Net plus, Linux plus, and my AZ 900 because I wanted to learn a little bit about cloud. And basically, now I am a college student. I work part time during the summers as a cable technician, and I've also worked part time as a help desk technician, as well as holding some customer service roles in the past. I'm a very self motivated person. I like to study away and grind, as some people may say. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of a hustler. So yeah, that's
And,
basically me.
And that's great, right? You have A plus, Network plus, Linux plus, AZ900, and CCNA. So, which was your first certification, and how old were you, if you don't mind me asking, when you got that cert?
Okay, so my first cert was the CompTIA Network Plus, and I would have been 16, I believe, when I got that certification. That was in my junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of people may think, like, why did you get the Network Plus before the A Plus? Usually you get the A Plus before the Network Plus. And honestly, I can tell you from getting the Network Plus first, like, you can really start with any of the three foundational certs, which is A Plus, Security Plus, or Network Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But we started with the Network Plus mainly because I was taking a class at a Votech, which, if you don't know, it's like a technical school um, that you can go to instead of going to high school, where you take it like half and half with high school.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was half and half. But getting to the point, um, they were switching things up with the PC hardware parts of the course and redoing it. So we learned about networking that year. So we did the Network Plus.
Nice, nice. And I think I did the A plus, the Network plus, Server plus, I believe, and then Linux plus, then Security plus, and then Storage plus, and Green IT. And that's the way. So I didn't do it like your A plus, Network plus, Security plus. I didn't do it that way either. I jumped
Right.
around a little bit as well on my certifications. And yeah, I've gotten quite a bit. And I think when I came on your channel, we spoke about certifications and which ones I have. And so, now fast forward and you got your CCNA, right?
Right.
What so did you go into the network space because of an interest? What sparked your interest with routing, switching, and the Cisco world?
So this is pretty funny because I can strictly remember going into Votech being a little disappointed that we weren't going to learn anything about PC hardware, because I was like, that's what I wanted to do at the time. I was like, PC building, because I was like a gamer. I really like gaming, so I was like, PC building is kind of what I wanted to learn how to do, and yada yada
Mm-hmm.
yada. I was a young naive kid, and so I even remember going in my first day and complaining to my professor. I was like, I wanted to learn this. Why are we
Mm-hmm.
learning this? And he started giving me projects with the whole PC stuff on the side with the networking stuff. And then, eventually I had to do some of the networking stuff because that was the course. And when we started doing Cisco packet tracer courses was really it for me, and I was like, huh, this is kind of cool. Like you can set up like these big networks that like control these systems, and um yeah, I just thought that was so much cooler than just being able to build a PC. And that's what it was for me. I was like, seems cool. I get to do more typing on the computer.
Yeah. So yeah,
Hands-on.
yeah, and that's definitely cool. And people don't know because obviously this is more geared towards cybersecurity. This channel, but Cisco Packet Tracer is an emulator. It's emulating Cisco's networking equipment, routers, switches, firewalls, APs, computers. So you can actually set up. Excuse me, I'm still getting over my cold, but so you can set up your own network in this environment, and it's absolutely free. You can just go to, I don't know where it is now, just Google Packet Trace, Cisco Packet Tracer. What is it? Who is it on now? Like Netstar, Net something, Net. I forget like the website now. I was on it the other day.
Net Academy.
Yeah, Net Academy. Thank you. And download it and tinker with your networks. So obviously you said something about your, server rack in the back, and you're saying stuff about Cisco Packet Tracer. Have you tinkered with like GNS3 or EVE-NG or those simulated or emulated environments?
I've haven't tinkered with those specifically, but I have tinkered with Packet Tracer, CML or Cisco Modeling Labs, which is
Yep.
basically a more advanced version of Cisco Packet Tracer,
Mm-hmm.
and then Boson NetSim. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like both because the physical equipment I have is kind of cheaper equipment I actually got for free, which
Mm-hmm.
is a story on its own. But yeah, I got it for free, but it still has some limitations too because it's older equipment and it's not
Mm-hmm.
like up to date. And it's nice to kind of be able to just go on and get the up to date stuff on my screen. But I still like
Absolutely.
using the physical.
Yeah. And that was my next question, right? So do you like physical gear better than like the virtual environments, and why? Like why, which one do you like better?
That's a hard question. Um, I'm gonna say if I can, I'm gonna say I like both because I think they both have their place. I
Mm-hmm.
think virtualizing is great because there's only so much equipment you can buy
Exactly.
without having to spend a crap ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do like the physical stuff more if you do have the money because you're plugging in the cables, you're
Mm-hmm.
using the console port to connect maybe and all that good stuff. And I do find that some of the virtualized stuff is a little bit more limited sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
where they might be missing some features.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. And that's what I make that point because I have an acquaintance or I have a buddy that had, now he's a little more advanced, but at this point he had his CCNP route switch before it transferred to enterprise. And he went to an MDF or an IDF, I think, and there was an uplink broken, right? So he'd never touched physical gear. Everything was with EVE-NG, and so he never actually terminaled in or used putty really into an environment. And he was so lost. He was in an IDF. He's like, I don't know really how to troubleshoot this. I didn't know how to, of course, he never really touched physical gear. Everything is virtual. So there's definitely that limitation and that gap of knowledge of actually physically connecting your console cable, putting it in, using your TTY lines and actually configuring everything from scratch. There's definitely something special about that, in my opinion. So that's definitely a good answer. How's
Right.
everyone doing in the chat? But yeah, so now you have your CCNA. What do you think the difficulty was for your CCNA?
There wasn't any labs on the test. It was all multiple choice, which made it extremely hard because you had to memorize a lot more information than you had to in the past in order to
Mm-hmm.
pass the exam. So it was a lot. I'm not going to say I didn't do any labs at all. I definitely did labs. I labbed every day, but
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely a lot less labs than I thought I was going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit disappointed with that actually, like that there weren't going to be any labs on the test because I feel like that's almost more important, if not equally important, to the theory. Um, but as far as difficulties, just reading in general, I have a hard time just sitting down and like reading like the OSCG. Um, but I got through it, and was it beneficial? Maybe I should have just stuck with the video courses. I probably could have got away with it, but I'm glad I did it though.
So what
Um,
did you use to study for CCNA?
oh, I use everything. I I scrounged the internet for everything. I probably have a list somewhere of like 20 different things I used. But as far as what I can remember, because this is almost close to a year ago now that I got this cert. I was using IT Germany Labs, best
Mhm.
video course that you can get hands down. It's completely free. Comes with Anki flashcards. Labs, it's great. If you don't know who IT Germany Labs is, type it into the search bar. You gotta watch this guy. He's the best. Um, Kevin Wallace, I watched his video course. I don't really like the CBT Nuggets or IT Pro TV. I don't like the whole subscription based thing. I try to find like a one and done purchase so I can always go back to it if I want to, or
Mhm.
whatever it may be. Anki flashcards, which I kind of already covered with IT Germany's labs thing, but if you don't use Anki flashcards for your certs, you're missing out. You really are. It's this flashcard app. It's kind of like Quizlet, but it uses this
Mhm.
algorithm called the space repetition algorithm, and it detects when your brain's going to forget the flashcard or the information, and then it'll pop it back up again.
Hmm.
And so it'll really challenge you at times. And I put like 1,000 flashcards, 1,500 flashcards in there, and like I memorize all that information, and it lasts a pretty long time. And that's one of my favorite ways of studying too. Like I'll just put on headphones, play some like jams, and I'll just freaking go through my flashcards 24/7. Yeah, so that's what I used. And for labs, obviously you see the Cisco equipment back there. I did a little bit with that. Kind of limited because it's older stuff. I couldn't obviously do a lot there, but what did I use? I used mostly Cisco Packet Tracer, and that was mostly just the labs from IT Germany. I also used Boson NetSim
Mhm.
and the Boson practice exams questions, which are the best. Don't use any other ones. They're garbage in comparison.
Nice. So now you have a CCNA. Do you plan on going for like CCNP, going up that route, or this is where you're gonna?
Um, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go CCNP. I'm gonna attempt anyways to go CCNP. Is why I say I never say I am because I might fail and then just say I'm gonna go do something else. But that's the plan right now, and I've been working towards it for the past 3 or 4 months now. I feel like I'm kind of getting to that point where like I'm almost at the point where I'm reaching the practice questions and then taking it. But I'm doing the encore, and then eventually I'm thinking I'm gonna go towards the Cisco NRC, which is a specialty. So to get the CCNP certification, you have to complete the encore, which is the main chunk, and then you have to go and specialize in something, whether it be DevOps or security or automation, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
I just like sticking with the regular enterprise stuff because that's what I find is the most applicable in most jobs, and that's
Mhm.
really what I'm trying to go for because I'm trying to get hired. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah,
Awesome.
um,
Awesome. Yeah. And Jeremy IT Labs. Is it IT Jeremy Labs or Jeremy IT Labs?
Germany IT Labs. Sometimes
Cool.
I say it backwards or whatever. Same thing. You'll find it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. So now we're in 2024, right? And
Mhm.
what is on the plate? What is on the horizon besides like CCNP, uh, school, like anything, like any content that you want to put out? Because you do have a channel. If you want to, promote your channel, go for it. Like people can, if you want to look at networking stuff, I haven't checked out your channel in a minute, but do you plan on building more content? What is some stuff in the works for you?
Sure. So as far as like content, the channel is more or less just a hobby for me. So um, I post, I post. I'm planning on posting every time I complete a cert and kind of going over on how I got it
Yep.
and what I recommend to get there and resources and all that stuff. Other than that, I might post like an occasional home lab video because I've been working on that. That was one of my New Year's resolutions. I was like, man, I gotta really start using this stuff more. So I'm trying to dedicate an hour a day to that now, which is good. I've been doing a lot with that. As far as other content, I also have a Discord server. It's called Information Technology. I know, such an original name, but yeah, we do monthly discussions there with a bunch of IT professionals. I'm not a professional. I'm more or less just there to give advice to students. I mean, I kind of am a professional. I've done a few jobs, but nothing long term. So if you want advice, go in there and ask. Yeah, and yeah. Other than that, I don't really know what else I have going on. I mean, I got school. You know, I want to work towards my associates. During the summers, I'm going to be working as a cable technician, so be making some money there and experience. So
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead and post your Discord link in there. And that's definitely a good, so when you say cable technician, right? So this is something that's critical for like CCNA type folks, because CCNA, you're not going to learn how to make cables, right? You're not going to learn. So with that Network Plus, I took my Network Plus many, many moons ago. So now you can, fill in that gap. Like say, for example, you want to go patch panel with, 586B and 586A and 580, whatever you want to do. You'll learn that with the Network Plus, and you'll learn that being a cable technician. So I think having that experience also will, go hand in hand with as a network admin and utilizing those skills in order to move up to that engineer level, because layer one of the OSI model is a serious problem, right? A lot of problems happen at layer one. And if you don't know how to troubleshoot layer one, you're going to be in deep shit. So what
yeah,
is your
you're
take on
100%
that?
right. I think it is great that I was able to get a job like that because I will be able to get all those skills like you were saying, and I'll be able to, you know, tell the cable contractors if we contract cabling people, like how I want stuff done as well. So I think those are very crucial skills that a lot of people overlook. And I would recommend if you guys do want to get into like network engineering and stuff that you do try to get a job like that, or you try to go to a Votech and learn that stuff, or just buy some stuff and do it and look up a YouTube tutorial. Because
Mm-hmm.
those are definitely 100% valuable skills. Um, yeah, I mean that's my take on that there.
All right. So we'll move into something like, all right, to not get, because you said something interesting before, like to keep you going, right? You listen to tunes and you jam out, look at your flashcards. What about if you plateau, like say, oh, fuck, like I don't want to do it right now. I'm mentally drained. I'm burnt out. What motivates you to keep going?
What motivates me to keep going? Just wanting a good job. Wanting to be able to buy a nice house, and I'm kind of materialistic. Like I want to be able to buy all the nice things and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I also want to do something I love, and I love this stuff. So that keeps me going. And I mean, what's the alternative? Is also what I kind of think about. Like I just sit on my bed and watch TikTok or like what
Mm-hmm.
every other like teen my age does, or
Mm-hmm.
play video games. And I'm weird. I'm not like that. I like to study and I like to improve myself. So uh,
And I was the same way. So, obviously everyone has their different upbringings, right? Everyone comes from a different walks of life. And I had that same sort of walk of life too. Like I had to, I guess, grow up quick, right? And I'm not sure your situation, but like that was the same thing with me. Like I came from don't want to say poverty, but like I came from shit. And I'm like, I don't want to be in shit anymore. So I need to keep moving forward to better myself, be a better professional, make more money. Like you said, I was never materialistic. I like my sneakers. Yeah. You know,
Mm,
but I don't have to drive a Lambo or, I can drive
right.
around, I'm good with whatever I drive. But on that same note, like, having a good, home and having that safety is way more important. And without that drive, like you said, if I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to sit back, hang out, go to the gym, just watch hockey and just, wither away, it's not going to work. Right. You want to keep improving.
Right.
So, all right. So even though you're a little young, you may or may not have experienced anything with mental health, right? So when I say mental health, not talking about like being, crazy or anything like that. I'm talking about like what keeps you, I don't want to say keeps you motivated, like getting burnt out, right? Because sometimes I can get burnt out and like right now I'm studying for PMPT and then I want to go for API hacking stuff. So now it's like, I've been doing it for like 9 or 10 days straight since we've been in the new year to study for the PMPT. And I'm already at like, I have to get in here at 8 o'clock at night, do it until like 10 o'clock and like just keep going. And it's like, I'm 10 days in and I'm like, fuck, like I'd rather do something else. So
Right.
what keeps you going from like getting burnt out?
I think a lot of it has to do with discipline and just
Mm-hmm.
doing it because you gotta like kind of just decide that it's your duty to do it and that's your purpose and what you want to do, and you just kind of have to have that mindset. Of course, everybody gets burnt out, no matter how disciplined or motivated you may be. I've been burnt out. I just recently was burned out a lot. So I'd recommend just taking a break. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people have a messed up idea of what taking a break really is. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people will go sit on their phones or watch a movie or something. I don't think that's taking a break. I think taking a break means you just need like I like to just take a break from technology in general and just completely detox for like a day or two and
Mm-hmm.
just like read a book or play with my dog or whatever it is, like take a
Mm-hmm.
real break. Like I just mentioned I recently went out to the Smokies before the show. That was kind of part of my detox. I went out into the Smoky Mountains for like a week with some friends and put my phone on airplane mode except to text family so they knew I was okay.
Yeah.
And I just lived in the woods for like a week, and that was it for me. That got me right back in the zone. I came back and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
It's game time.
Yeah, exactly. Having that disconnect, having that, detox moment. And I think that's what everyone needs. And, I'm the same way, right? Like I'll be like, oh, I want to disconnect. I want to go to the gym for an hour. I want to watch a hockey game, right? Like, I'm a hockey fan. So I'm like, oh, 2 or 3 hours, I'll watch hockey, quote unquote disconnect. And I'm right back at him. But I'm like, fuck, this is not really a disconnect because I'm like, I feel the same as I did just before the game or whatever it is, right? Like I just feel like I'm still not really zoned in and, like, and yeah, I think it's super critical to disconnect and detox from technology. And maybe that's something that I need to do too, right? Like put my phone on airplane mode and just like, okay, like really disconnect from the whole, Instagram, Discord, whatever all the social medias that people are on, because it really drives me bonkers because, I'm no one big in the community, but I have a little social presence. And it's like, I get millions of messages from every fucking avenue. You know what I mean? Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. So it's like, you're on your phone. And it's like, fuck, do I have to like just go ahead and just reply to every single person? It's like, man, like, so it definitely like disconnected from the whole technology space is definitely something is definitely good to do. So to keep the healthy mind.
I agree 100%. And I mean, you look at the people who don't do that. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys know who David Goggins is. That guy never quits. He never takes a break. And he gets injured all the time. And dude's just messed up. I don't know how he does it. But yeah, he's crazy.
No, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, super critical. And obviously there's a few people in the chat, and I'm doing well. Hopefully everyone's doing well there. If there's any questions for myself or Holden about, networking. So I guess I have a question for you, Holden. So you said you dabbled in some cyber, you had a club in high school. Why did you choose network engineering versus cybersecurity?
That's a good question, and um, I don't know if I really have an answer for you because I still kind of like both.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I kind of went more with networking just because I I enjoyed it more. I don't know how to explain that, but
Mm-hmm.
it just felt simple to me. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
No, it does.
Like but I still like cyber stuff, and I always tell myself like if I ever get burnt out from like just networking in general, I'll just do something with cyber. Like I feel like that would be kind of a semi easy transition. Um, but no, pen testing stuff. Like I still just love hearing about it. Like I don't know if you know what Darknet Diaries is,
Mm-hmm.
but like all the cybercrime stories and pen testing, and it's all very interesting to me. Um, but something about just building a network and engineering something and building something to me is more fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
I
Than
guess
actually
is how I
just
put it.
breaking it. Yeah. No, that's definitely good. So, all right. So we have something, you lean more towards the blue team or red team in regards of cyber.
Red team for sure. I like breaking stuff when I dabble. I feel like the defensive stuff is kind of boring. Not to, you know, networking is the plumbing of the cyber world. I can get on board with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's freaking out. They're saying networking's going away because of the cloud. What do you think the cloud runs on? A network.
Yeah. 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 I think people say those things when they don't really understand too much of what network really is. They think
Mhm.
networking is, their house, right? They have a router, they have maybe a switch or something in their house that, or maybe not even a switch, maybe they have their access point to going out to the internet. And they're like, oh man, like, they don't really realize how big the internet is, how big a network is. And I think those people obviously aren't network engineers for a reason. And yeah, I think, and to answer your thing, like the blue teaming is boring. I used to think the same thing, right? I used to be like, oh,
Oh
red
no.
team. Yeah, red team all day. And I just want to give my 2 cents in the blue team. You're right. So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. So, like in the blue team space, right? Because blue teaming, first of all, there's more jobs in blue teaming, right? Security engineering. And second, there's so much to do in the space of defending from adversaries, defending from the bad guys, from phishing, from EDR, NDR, XDR, threat intel, threat hunting, analyzing, security analysts or whatever. There's so many avenues. When you're a pen tester, you're just hacking all day, right? You're just finding a way to exploit a vulnerability or exploit a person with social engineering or whatever kind of exploit, right? So once you exploit the system, you get whatever your objective is. If it's to compromise a domain controller, if it's compromise your Wi-Fi, you compromise whatever it is, and write up your pretty report, give it to the client, and say, this is stuff you have to remediate. Who remediates that? The network engineers, system admins, and blue teaming. And then they come together and form what's called purple teaming, right? So now the blue team from the defensive in the company, and then you as the pen tester consultant, you guys come into a team, form a quote unquote purple team. That's what the whole purple teaming is. And now we can remediate those findings from the actual pen test. So there's so much to blue teaming and instant response and all that stuff that a lot of people, don't really know the ins and outs of. Everyone just sees the pretty cool red team and the Kali
Yeah.
Linux and hack and sack, and they don't really know what goes into actually defending and how much goes into it. Like, for example, today, we can be putting in IOCs, indicators of compromise, and we can find a hash for some kind of malicious application. We could put that into our EDR. So something runs on our endpoint. it'll flag it, it'll remediate it, and it'll contain it, right? Put it in containment. So there's so much out there that for the blue team. So don't think blue teaming is boring. I just wanted to counter that because I used to think this. I used to think the same shit, dude. Like, I'm like, fuck, what are they doing? Just looking at logs all day and it's like Splunk and, defending against brute force attacks. That shit sounds boring as shit until you really get into the nitty gritty of blue teaming. But
yeah, no, 100%. That's 100% fair. I'm very naive to all the cyber stuff, so I haven't really looked into blue teaming a whole lot, which is part of the reason why I just said red teaming, because I haven't looked into any of the blue teaming stuff. But going back to what you were saying about like studying tips, I did have a few that I thought of that I didn't think of right away. Like for burnout, one way that really helps me is like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Perdomo, but it's like a study method that you can use where you study for like 50 minutes and like take a break for 10, or you can study for 30, take a break for 20, whatever. And that's supposed to prevent you from like stopping completely. Which, then you get to keep studying, which means you might get a little bit more out of your workday. Also, just getting like a study partner like is huge. I know it's hard to do because it's hard to find someone who's studying the same thing as you, unless if you're in like a class of people. But you can go online in my server, or I'm sure even InfoSec's Pat's server, you can find people that are more than happy to study with you. I know I see it all the time in my server, people trying to find people to study with. I personally have done that, and it works wonders because then you kind of have like you have somebody with you, and it's like if they're not quitting studying, I'm not going to quit either. Also, like this is kind of like a stranger thing I do to keep myself studying sometimes I'll literally turn on like a camera and I'll live stream myself studying, because just the idea of having somebody watching me and being like, oh, he's quitting already, it just keeps me going a little bit more.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. That's actually a good idea, because it's like, okay, I'm studying for PJPT, PMPT, whatever you want to study. And it's like, okay, maybe once a week or once every other week, do a live stream about what I've learned over the last week or so, and talk about that. Okay, we're learning about whatever co-browsing. We're learning about whatever we're learning about pass attacks and pass to hash, pass to password. Using NetExec or CrackMapExec or whatever the tool is, and maybe explaining that and re-teaching, because I believe when you teach something, you reinforce that knowledge as well. That's what I think, you really know it too. Like if you can teach something, that means you really know it, in my opinion. And I got that from Keith Barker. He's like, once you really know something, you can teach it. If you can't teach it, you don't know it. I was like, oh shit, that's a good point.
It's fair.
And so getting deep into,
I have to try that.
So Owen's saying getting deep into DFIR investigation can be pretty fun. Yeah, absolutely. And that's
DFIR. So
digital forensics incident response. Is that what it stands for? Digital forensics incident response, I think. And that's, yep. So it's like investigating an incident. So say, for example, if there was a compromise, or if there was, something, just like I was just talking about, like if an account got compromised, or maybe, for an example, there were situations where I was working and, we saw some fishy stuff going on, and all of a sudden, like the organization hired a pen tester to pen test the organization, didn't let us know, to see how we would respond to that. Right. So, and because if we say, for example, if I know the thief's going to come into the house, I want to board up my house. Right. But if I don't know if the thief is going to come in, I may just be a little more nonchalant, just, willy nilly, and see if he can bypass the security controls that I have in place, whatever, my lock, my camera, whatever, same kind of concept. And that's when you start investigating how they're trying to get in, or what were their attempts. And so let's see, dude, red team is so much more fun. I've been learning some coding lately. Yeah, but sometimes I want to break stuff. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's real more. Listen, yeah.
I think I got a friend who's trying to get into forensics. It seems like there's a lot to that. Like, I think he's even getting like a law degree or something too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's like a must have or whatever. It's a lot. It's a lot of school.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't need your law degree for forensics, at least in digital forensics, right? Like there's certificate, like my certification behind me, one of them, it's the CHFI, Certified Hacking Forensics Investigator. You learn more about low, like voluntary memory, taking, e-discovery on emails, going to, litigation court, litigation stuff, going to court, uh, quarantining or having a chain of custody on a hard drive, making images of it, make sure it does not get tampered with, mess with the integrity of the drive, and all that stuff. Yeah, so it is fun. Like if you want to get into more of the court stuff, the law enforcement. But I definitely it's definitely intriguing. It's fun. There's not so many jobs in that, like as much as like the other stuff, but there's definitely stuff that you can make. Salute, Josh. Yeah, man. So that's, I hear cyber lawyers can make some bank. Yeah. Cyber lawyers do make bank.
I believe that.
Just like John said, like digital forensics is huge in the law enforcement agencies. Absolutely. So, if that's something that your friend's looking to get into, you don't have to get no degree. You just have to get, some certifications under your belt and just get that hands-on experience, right? And the thing is with digital forensics, right, you can get an enclosure. Now everything is, this, I can never, what is it? The EC, what are these things called? These fucking things, EMEI, the little hard drives. I always forget, the SSD cards, whatever the hell they are. So yeah, I don't build PCs like you. So,
the NVMe drives, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that shit. So like now with that, it's gonna be a little harder to, we could put it in little, I don't have my enclosure's over there, but it's like with the old school ones, like you have platters and you have discs and everything like that, and like the spindles. So then you have like, you can put it into I remember doing it in one project, like literally into like a forensics lab. Like literally it was like going into a surgery. Like I had to put white gloves on. I had to put my hands into something, because if like spickles of dust get into the drive or into the platter, you're done. Mm-hmm. It's fucked. So it's like super, super tedious work. So it was fun. I haven't done it in, using like Autopsy. There's an application called Autopsy or Incase, e-discoveries tools. There's some other cool tools that you, what are some other ones? Can't think right now, but there's definitely, if your friend wants to know more about it, he can hit me up and I can definitely get a list of tools for him to check out. But,
I'll definitely let him know, because he probably doesn't need a law degree. That's what I was trying to tell him. But anyways, I also want to learn Python a little bit. That's something I'm working towards slowly and surely. I haven't started yet, but I've been looking at a few courses. I don't know if you I forget the guy's name, but there's one really popular one that's free that like they email you to, and it's for like specifically for network engineers. So I'm kind of excited about learning that. I really want to get in the cloud too. I kind of want to do some cloud stuff, because that's like seems where everything is going. And I'm very naive, because I don't know what is all included in the cloud, other than like what the AZ900 has taught me, which is like, it's just like an interface and or a GUI, and you can kind of like open up terminals and like execute commands, and it's all kind of like virtualized, but just someone else's stuff, which is basically what the cloud is, I guess. But
yeah, I guess like if you're looking, it all depends on what your end goal is in the cloud, right? If you want to go to AWS route, GCP, Azure, there's just there's just so much, right? Especially for you, if you want to become a network engineer, learning about DNA center, learning about Python programmability, network programmability, and all that stuff is definitely going to be helpful for you in your career as a network engineer, right? And you can automate that stuff. Like instead of going to config T, VLAN 10, VLAN 11, blah, 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 you can automate all this stuff with Python, right?
Okay.
So there's definitely some good resources out there. When I did, my last CCNP, because I have 3 CCNPs, and
Holy cow.
yeah, I have quite a few certs. I don't really talk about all the stuff that I guess
I
I
feel like you would
know.
just have like a paragraph of like, sir.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's transitions, right, in life. There's transitions and chapters of your life, right? So there was one chapter I was hardcore routing, switching, firewalls, call manager, UCS, and all this stuff that I was learning with phone systems and the voice and collaboration, and then get into the cloud with some VMware, like I have VCP, VCAP from VMware. Then go into Horizon View, getting into the VDI aspect of the world of VMware, and then moved into some of the cybersecurity space, right? So, yeah, I have a lot. That's funny. Owen's saying that because he was literally at my house, and he's not lying. And I like to be humble about that stuff, right? Like I don't like to, I hate bragging. I don't like to be all about me. I don't like the shine on me, the spotlight, but like I said, like there's going to be spaces and information that you gather throughout your life and throughout your career and don't think you're going to remember all this shit, because
you won't.
You won't.
You just won't.
So don't. And people think like I'm some genius. I'm fucking far from a genius, right? So like there was just a time and a place that I was learning about all these things, and I was doing it, studying it, passing exams. And then when you move on, can I configure? Then I was doing it the other night with Owned, right? Setting up routers, switches, doing some basic routing with OSPF and doing some stuff, and I still got it, right? And I haven't configured a router in probably since 2016, 2017, really configure, like go into it and configure routing and switching, right? And I still remembered every, I still had, sometimes I have to hit the question mark, but for the most part, like getting into it is, and like about 2 months ago, I helped a friend configure an FTD, right? Firepower threat defense. And, all the new firewalls from Cisco and Firepower and all this stuff with the IPS and IDS aspect of it. And it's like, shit, like, so once you understand that fundamental, you can bring that wherever, and so don't expect to remember it all. Just like you have your Linux Plus, right? I guarantee if I asked you, how do you create a cron job?
Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
So I'm just saying, like, stuff that you learn on your Linux Plus, and or even your AAA Plus or Network Plus or whatever certification. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to remember it all. And no, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Like what is, but the moral of the story, don't think, just because you have a certification, you learn a topic, don't expect to remember that topic for the rest of your life. Right. Just understand how to utilize the resources out on the interwebs to find the information that you have learned. And just let the internet be your repository or your archive for this fucking brain inside, because you're never going to remember everything.
Right.
So we have about 15 more minutes. If there's any questions for myself or Holden, I really appreciate you.
I got a question for you, Pat.
Go for it.
I know you have a lot of cybersecurity kind of like toys from like Hack5 and such. I want to ask you what your favorite is, because I'm looking to buy one, but I'm not sure what to buy.
Are you saying from overall?
It doesn't just have to be Hack5. It can be from anywhere.
What is my favorite? So I guess it all depends on what I'm trying to do, right? I love my little flipper, right? I carry this thing everywhere and I fuck with people all the time. I have a flipper. So for example, like I have my rubber ducky that I have scripts, like, because it's pretty much a keylogger, right? I'll like carry that around if I'm going to like a friend's house and I'm like, oh, like, hey, I need your computer real quick, and I'll just fuck with them. Or like I have my Wi-Fi pineapple, even though like I can set up my flipper as a Rogue AP, and I have a kitty. This thing, one sec, I'll show you. This thing is fucking neat. Look at it. This thing, this little guy, Dev Kitty. So this thing is like a DOS Wi-Fi hacking tool. That's pretty cool. But if if you want to just have a cool little toy, I think the Wi-Fi pineapple is pretty cool because you can bring that to like Starbucks. You can bring that to like your school, fuck around and have like, rogue access points and just capture people's data. And you can just put up your
twin stuff.
Yep. You can set up your own little captive portal and say, oh, looks like Starbucks, where you can put a little, gotcha, like a little evil looking guy, like dumbass, you connected to the wrong one. But I think there's so many, but I think the Wi-Fi pineapple would be my favorite.
I've been looking at getting one of those. I really have. I was going to buy one for the club, but I mean, have enough money. We bought some other stuff. You got one at DEF CON? Man, I'm jealous of you. I want to go to DEF CON.
Yeah, DEF CON's cool, man. Come out this year, man. Like last year was super fun. Yeah. And I'm out there and just chill out for the week. But yeah, Mark, like I definitely enjoy my Wi-Fi pineapple. I have all three of them. Or this way. I have the Tetra, I have the Mach 7, and I have the Nano. So I have all three, and I really enjoy their toys.
Oh my!
But definitely seems like updates coming. Go for it.
I was looking at the flipper too, but like every time I've looked at it, I don't know if it's changed now, but they never ship to the US. I don't know if that's changed.
Oh yeah. Now you can get them like they're hotcakes. They're
okay.
Yeah. Just go to shop.flipperzero.com or something like that. I'll throw it in. I think it's Flipper Zero. And here we go. Right here. Come on. What the hell's happening? I'm like, can you subscribe? Yeah, man. That's because of you, John. So what he's talking about, I'm just going to throw this in the chat, guys, so you guys can want to Flipper Zero. So that thing, I got that idea from John Good. He had that when we were chatting. I'm like, dude, where'd you get that? And I got it from Santa Claus. Actually, it was awesome. My girlfriend got it for me, and it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like this is definitely a cool little toy. But yeah, it was great. Love that thing.
You're really getting up there too. I remember when I first started watching you and stuff, you were like sitting around 20K, I think. You've really kind of grown and blown up. Yeah,
it's it was about 20K, I think, when I was starting that 2022 server thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when you helped me with some of those thumbnails. And yeah, it's just, I think it's just consistency, right? That's all it is. It's just like being consistent. And I think that's all it is, man.
Compounds.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if there's no other questions, we can wrap up. I guess there's obviously I want to be cautious of your time. And obviously if there's any other questions for you, Holden, from other folks out after the chat, how can they contact you? How would you?
So there is the Discord link that they put in the description. You can go join that and contact me on Discord. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Really easy. I'm Holden Weber. I'm the only one on LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you can add me there if you want to talk, or connect or whatever. And yeah, that's where you can
Cool.
find me.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone from the chat hanging out tonight on a beautiful Thursday. And until next time, have an awesome night and speak to you guys soon.
See you.